na pwede natin siyang somewhat may replicate even though via online. So, ayun. Sige, mag-start na tayo. So, since first session, disclaimer, wala akong specific process or skill na i-share since hindi kasi walang market research na ginawa, di ba? Hindi ko alam kung baguhan or anong level ng ano yung mga level natin in terms of experience or delivering services as SEO specialist. So hindi ko rin alam kung ano yung need ng ano yung pinaka-need ng group para sa mga susunod na session. So parang ngayon ite-test out lang natin and then later siguro malaman natin kung ano yung gusto nyo pang matutunan, yung gusto nyong malaman para may matatap din tayong specialist na pwedeng tumulong sa atin doon for the next session. So now it's more of an overview. Ayan, meron tayong merong mga beginners. So yung session ngayon, more on overview in case meron tayong mga beginners or nag-explore whether SEO is their skill para sa kanila. So let me present my slide. Nakikita ba? Ano bang nakikita nyo?
Wala pa pong na-share,
Kayo po.
Coach.
Wala pa po. Wala pa po share. Magandang face nyo, Coach.
Coach, wala pa po.
Screen, ay sandali lang, ano ba to? Screen 2. Yan?
Okay na po, Coach.
Yes.
Meron na po.
Kita na po.
Ayan.
Meron na po.
Hindi ko kita ang chat. Ayan, in case may chat. Ayan. So, yan, welcome ulit sa first session natin ng Skill Mastery Session. So, para sa hindi nakakakilala sa akin, so I'm Mariel. I'm from Kaizen. Tribe Kaizen. Batch 2 ako sa Tribe. So, I help service-based businesses get consistent qualified leads by increasing their website visibility in search engine. So, I started as a freelancer way back 2009. Started as an SEO writer. And then, in between, for 8 years, I worked as a contractor sa isang malaking search engine. So, doon din siguro na-plant yung interest ko about how SEO works. So, 2019, I started na as an SEO specialist. So, I'm still working with this SEO agency, DigiRank. So, specialist nila ako in content strategies. And then last year, I co-founded B2Me together with other tribe mates. So, and dun sa B2Me, ako yung SEO consultant. So, sa mga nagsa-start, brief review lang. So, what is SEO? So, in simplest terms, we help, diba, improve website visibility sa search engines. So, kasi better visibility would mean increased traffic dun sa website. Increased traffic means engagement dun sa website and eventually convert them into leads. So, ang end game ng SEO still is lead gen. So, diba, most of us, merong ginagamit na yung, I help statement natin na may mga gumagamit na, we help businesses generate leads or targeted leads without spending a dime. So, yun pa rin yung endpoint. Hindi lang traffic, ang endpoint pa rin ng SEO is we provide leads, qualified leads dun sa business. So, why is it still important sa mga businesses? Organic search, kahit sobrang talamak and very popular ng social media, when you check it, organic search pa rin is the primary source of website traffic. It's a long-term strategy and it's sustainable and it builds credibility and trust. In contrast with kaibahan natin with siguro advantage natin with paid ads. Sa paid ads, oo, may quick win sila, quick ROI and all. Pero in long-term run, mas tipid pa rin si SEO kasi steady yung generate ng leads. In contrast with ads, kapag tinigil mo yung ads, wala na ring leads, 'di ba? So, for now, since na-mention ko nga na parang overview lang siya, and para ma-assess din kung alin yung needs ng the whole group kung gustong matutunan. What I want to tackle about now, ang gustong i-share is the common SEO misconceptions. And this list, maiksi lang siya, it's just 5. I'm gonna be sharing 5 main ones na na-encounter ko during my my experience ko as an SEO specialist. So later, after nito, yung mga nagpa-practice na, maybe they can share their common, yung mga na-encounter nila na misconception ng SEO pagdating dun sa client. So, ayun. So una, as you know, myth number 1, SEO is a one-time task. Dun sa mga nagsa-start pa lang or gustong i-explore, no, it is not a one-time task. It's not a plug and play, and it is not a one-size-fits-all strategy. Oo, meron tayo may mga best practices, but as you know, sabi nga, walang specific or absolute formula ang SEO. Everything is just hypothesis. Everything is just best practices. Pwedeng yung best practices na to nag-work with this niche, pwedeng hindi nag-work with a different niche. Kaya it requires an ongoing optimization, monitoring, adjustment sa mga search engine algorithm updates, sa trends, anong nangyayari ng competitor, and of course, yung user behavior. So, everything is about testing and tweaking. Yes, walang absolute formula sa SEO. So, everything is magsa-start tayo with the best practices with what we know. You know, yung mga common na kailangan, may H1 or something, mga structure and all. But we monitor everything kung ano man yung initial nating ginawa, and then we tweak depende dun sa result ng everything ng iba pang factors. So that's myth number 1. 2, SEO guarantees instant results. I think ito yung kailangan, especially sa mga pag nagpa-present tayo ng proposal. This is something na I always emphasize sa clients. Kasi just recently, ewan ko na dito yung partner ko. we emphasize that SEO is a long-term strategy, but after revamping the website, optimizing the website, they're expecting na nag-rank na sila and merong leads in a month. Which, of course, hindi siya ganon. It doesn't guarantee top rankings overnight. It doesn't even guarantee na magta-top 1 ka within a year or 6 months or whatsoever. Kasi ang daming factors. Again, it's a long-term strategy. Bakit it takes time? It takes time to develop authority, especially kung bago pa lang si website. And even more time to outperform competitors who are already sitting at rank number 1 or doing very good SEO. So, lahat yun i-outperform mo. So, and you have to convince Google na, okay, mas authority, mas maganda yung content ko, mas valuable, mas okay ako compared to competitors. So, and assuming you are really doing good content, good optimization ng website and all, it typically takes on average 3 to 6 months for SEO to show results. Not page 1, or at least makakita na ng traction. So yun. And this is based sa study rin ng recent study ng Ahrefs. I mean, matagal na tong number na 3 to 6 months, and it still holds based dun sa mga recent studies. So again, it's not a plug and play. minention nga na, okay, it takes 3 to 6 months to gain traction, but it doesn't mean na, okay, i-optimize ko ngayon, and then iiwanan ko na. Let's just wait for 3 to 6 months kung may mangyayari. It doesn't work like that. It's not, again, it's not a plug and play. You optimize today and then wala ka nang gagawin for the next 3 to 6 months. Optimization is ongoing, content production is ongoing, marketing is ongoing. And then, saka ka makakita ng traction on average between 3 to 6 months. So, yan. So, ito yung isang website na ginawa namin sa Diginak Marketing. So, kung makita nyo, parang plateau lang siya sa una. After optimization, wala. Nag-gain lang siya ng traction in about, I think more than 6 months to. Parang ganun. It showed traction now in the 3rd month with 135 increase ng traffic. And then by 6 months, we have increased it to 157%. So currently for this client, kasi nakalagay dito 752, I just grab it dun sa website namin. We have increased the traffic by 11,000%. And this by doing within 2 years. 2 years na namin to na SEO. So, yeah. So myth number 3, SEO is only about ranking high. And I'm seeing this sa mga groups din ng mga SEO na everyone is so focused on traffic. Everything is so focused on being number 1 on certain keywords. It helps, of course, kapag nasa 1 ka, nasa page 1, higher clickability rate and all. But, kung babalikan natin yung definition natin ng SEO kanina, ranking high and traffic, it is not the sole purpose of the SEO. What's the sole purpose? Ano ang pinaka-objective ng SEO?
Lead generation.
Lead generations. So, the ultimate objective of SEO is to drive the targeted organic traffic to the website and convert that traffic into the desired action. We need to produce leads. So, how do we do that? Hindi naman natin control ng leads. Diba? Traffic lang yung pwede nating makontrolin. And ang pwede natin galawin. So, yan, again, ang goal natin is from Google, seeing the Google, makita yung business ng client natin sa Google and then end up in a thank you page. That's the ultimate objective. So how do we do that? As we say, be a dual threat marketer. So what's a dual threat marketer? So hindi lang tayo nakafocus with the traffic, pero ako personally, what I do is chine-check ko talaga agad muna yung website if yung pagdadalhan ko ng traffic ay maayos ba. Baka naman broken yung thank you page nila and whatsoever, ganun. So be a dual threat marketer because anything times 0 is 0. So all the visitors in the world, without conversion, no leads generated. Same, 100% conversion rate with no traffic, it's no leads generated. So it's like the cheese and the mouse trap thing. Pwede kang may cheese nga dyan, attracts lahat ng daga or whatsoever. Hindi naman gumagana yung mouse trap mo, nothing. Pwede rin naman na gumagana yung mousetrap mo pero wala ka namang pang-attract sa clients, wala kang traffic, wala din. So, keep in mind that at the end of the day, clients don't really care about rankings and traffic. What they care about is revenue. Worth it ba yung binabayad? At ini-invest nila sa atin as SEO marketers. So, worth it ba yung ginagawa natin pag-optimize and all? So, ang isa sa, kaya I think it's very important na to do this, be a dual threat marketer. Maganda yung relationship natin with the website developers. Ayun. We need to collaborate with them para i-ensure na yung buong marketing effort ang tinitingnan natin. We're not just too focused on the traffic and the rankings. Dapat concerned din tayo dun sa pagbabagsakan natin ng traffic, which is yung website. And I think ginagawa rin naman to sa email marketers and other form ng marketing, di ba? Before nila i-promote yung isang product or services, they need to make sure na yung product na ipopromote nila tested na, improved. Same with SEO. We need to make sure na before tayo mag-drive ng traffic, before natin simulan yung SEO campaigns natin, yung pagbabagsakan natin ng traffic, maayos. Because at the end of the day, and I had experience din na with previous client na gano'n, na ikaw yung masisisi kapag walang nako-convert. Ang laki-laki na binabayad sa'yo, they're spending ganitong amount sa'yo, tapos 6 months pa, long-term engagement, tapos walang bumabalik. Kasi may sira pala along their funnel or along their contact page or whatsoever. And hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin kasalanan nila. Hindi. As a marketer, as a nag-strategize ng campaign, kasama yun dapat sa iniisip natin. Next, okay pa ba? Then later, mag-chime in kayo. Next, myth number 4, backlinks are the only important factor. So, backlinks are important, of course. Pero hindi lang yun yung ranking factor. And I'm seeing this then sa mga groups na they're also too focused on getting backlinks or doing link building and all. But as you know, hindi kasi I'm an on-page specialist. I don't do off-page. So I don't do link building. Pero I know na for backlinks, matrabaho siya, and for some business, magastos. 'Di ba? Tama ba? Yung mga backlinkers dito, it's time-consuming and magastos siya, 'di ba? Kaya there are big agencies na ginagawa nila, ina-outsource na lang nila yung backlinking kasi hindi na in-house, kasi yun nga, matrabaho siya and magastos. So, kung sa SEO, kung sa traffic, we can generate it organically. Same with backlinks. Pwedeng hindi tayo gumastos and may organic way of getting backlinks. And that is in our case, content. So for example, this is our client na dental. It's a local dental client. Yung mga pinakita ko pala sa inyo na results, lahat yan we're not doing link building. All the links na nakuha namin are all nakuha namin organically, and we only do really good content. Optimize yung website, and we provide magandang structure ng website, pillar pages and all, and then high quality content. So for this one, ito kahit kami nasa-surprise sa result ng dental na to. Kasi currently now, I think na siya, mataas to parang 51K ba na organic traffic per month for this dental client. And so happy sila kasi of course mataas yung traffic and madami silang bookings ng appointments. And lahat nung sa agency, DJ Rank Marketing, we're not doing link building, we're focused on content. So, yes, the topical authority and yun nga, hindi lang basta that's it also with content. Hindi lang basta publishing high quality content. You may have the best content about a certain topic, pero isa lang siya. It doesn't work like that. Kailangan it's a group of content na about a certain thing. Build topical authority. So ayun. So that's what we're doing with all of our clients. So currently sa agency, we have 7 ata. I'm managing 7 websites and everything, ganyan-ganyan. It's a mix of local and national clients. So yeah. And myth number 5, this medyo personal sa akin. To call yourself an SEO specialist, you need to know everything. You need to know how to do technical. You need to know how to do on page. You need to know how to do off page. You need to know everything before you can call yourself an SEO specialist. I don't think this is true. I'm gonna say well, I heard this kasi in one of the talks sa isang in-attendan ko, medyo na-offend ako. Kasi parang I don't do technical and I don't do off-page. I specialize in on-page and content. And the guy said, or the speaker said na, no, you cannot call yourself an SEO specialist. And it's kind of intimidating, especially for those na gustong mag-start, yung sa mga baguhan. Kasi SEO, it's huge. Napakalawak niya. And kahit sa mga, I'm sure for those na matagal na rin na nagpo-provide ng SEO services, sa dami ng mga nangyayari, parang sa dami ng updates, sa dami ng kailangan mong malaman, the more na nare-realize mo, ang dami mong hindi alam. And it's overwhelming. So no, you don't need to do everything before you offer your service in SEO. You can specialize in one of those. Pero it is important that you know at least the fundamentals of the technical of the off-page kahit hindi mo siya ini-implement. What you can do, kasi syempre, para alam mo how everything works. But I think yun yung important. But do you need to know ba na mag-implement and do the stuff or kailangan ikaw ang gumawa? Not necessarily. What you can do instead is collaborate. I think ito rin yung purpose nung skill mastery natin. Kilala natin kung sino ang specialize sa link building. So instead of, magpakagaling ka with link building, which ako hindi ko alam. Alam ko lang yung concept niya, alam ko lang yung essence niya and so, but instead of me doing it, makikikollaborate na ako with someone else. And I think this is also a huge reason why a lot of SEO specialists or offering SEO services are burnt out kasi they're trying to do everything. So, idadagdag pa nila dyan yung website development na they need to know WordPress or they need to know how to code. Para sa akin hindi. You don't need to do everything. It's okay to specialize and really do good on one part of it. So, I guess that's it. O, di ba? 20 minutes lang. So, yeah, that's it for me. Meron kayong gustong ma-share? You can unmute yourself. Magka-Q&A na ba tayo? Pwede rin naman.
Hi, Coach. Ano po ba yung gusto nyong mangyayari? Ituloy na yung, parang mix na yung sharing, at the same time, yung Q&A?
I'm sorry. Bigla kasing umulan, ang lakas. Hindi ko narinig, sorry.
Hello, Coach. At paano gagawin po natin? May mga series of questions naman natin na nailagay sa chat. Gusto nyo na po bang i-tackle yun o we will invite everyone to, or those who are interested to share their insights about what have been discussed?
May gusto ba mag-share nung before we go to the Q&A part? May gusto ko yung i-share about misconceptions na tackle ninyo or opinion na different from mine sa na-share ko. Okay lang naman din. As I've said, what works for me may not work for others. It's a testing phase with SEO. So yeah. So yung na-share ko kasi, mostly my market are local. businesses like dental, pest control, national or mortgage real estate, mortgage marketing. So those are the niche and industries that I've worked with. So yung mga shinare ko kanina are mostly based on those experience. So baka yung iba may different opinion or different view of stuff. Feel free to unmute. Wala.
Sige po,
Kurt!
I'll start. Hello.
Ay, sige, ulit.
Ayan. Di kasi what I noticed, parang hindi yata na-mention yung readability. I think readability is also an SEO factor. Pero ang i-verify ko lang muna, is this a community na mix na? Cause I'm not a tech SEO specialist. I'm an
Same,
SEO
same.
writer na I implement kung ano yung guidelines from the SEO specialist. Usually parang nasanay ako na there's an SEO specialist who is parang more or less like supervisor who guides the writer. Tas i-implement namin what the SEO guidelines are. Pero eventually parang na-gets ko na yun yung lagi na sinasabi niyang mga guidelines na when I go to another client, kahit walang SEO specialist, alam ko na parang more or less yun yung. But I always say na I'm not a tech SEO kasi meron pa yung mga analytics which I'm not really familiar with.
Yeah, mixed tayo dito. Like ako, on page lang talaga ako in content strategies. So, yun ang ginagawa ko, basically guiding then yung mga writers kung anong i-implement nila. So that's what I do. But the tech stuff, hindi ako yun. Sina Kurt ata yun. Yan, sina Glenn. Si Fervin. Ayan, mga marunong mag-tech. Ako hindi ako marunong mag-tech. Pinapasa ko lang siya. Sa agency kasi namin ganon, hati kami. Akin yung on-page and content. Si agency owner ang technical and off-page. Ganon kami. Ganon yung hatian namin.
Tapos yun po, back to my original question, is readability a factor? Kasi may client ako na hindi na namin sinusunod yung readability ni Yoast. Basta ano lang kami, Yoast SEO, basta 300 words per text block, basta yung readability, totally hindi na namin sinunod. Is it a factor to increase the ranking?
Factor ba siya? But hindi ko sure kung factor siya. Baka masagot nung iba. I honestly don't know. But sa readability, what we do is ine-ensure namin na 8th grade. Pero hindi naman namin mini-measure. Para 8th grade readability. But honestly, dun sa practice namin, sinasabi lang namin siya sa writer pero we don't really test whether it's being done na okay 8th grade talaga siya or something. Basta ang sa akin, ang rule of thumb ko, hindi dapat masyadong mahaba yung sentences. Ganun lang. Parang by the eye lang. I don't really use additional tools to check on those things. Parang ganun.
If I may add lang, sorry, yung readability that you're talking about, ayun yung sa Yoast, di ba? Yung orange or green. So, ibig sabihin ba yung client mo is aiming dapat green yung readability niya? Is that so?
For the Yoast SEO scores, kaya lang yun nga itong particular client ko na military website. So, ang mga nagbabasa naman ng website niya is yung mga interested about Ukraine war, mga ganun. Kaya yung kahit itodo na namin yung sentence na more than 20 words, kahit itodo pa namin na sobrang lalim na hindi na understandable by a 6th, 7th grader, totally inignore na namin yung readability score ni Yoast. Pero nagdoble pa rin kami from 20,000 readers na followers ng website niya, nadoble namin siya ng 40,000 with one story.
Ayun. Edi okay pa
because
rin.
of the maganda yung interesado yung mga followers nung website na yon doon sa storya na about military aircraft na Mach 5 monster, parang halimaw yung military aircraft. Mach 5 is 5 ano yon 5 times the speed of sound. Yung ganong kabilis yung military aircraft na AI invention. We
Alright, so-
doubled it even without following the readability score from Yoast. That's
So
why I was
repeat ko lang yung
asking.
question, no? Yung question mo is kung ranking factor ba yung readability. I would say no, it's just a guide. Siguro for some it's useful, for some it's they don't use it at all. So ang rule of thumb ko kasi when in terms of content creation is really to provide kung ano ba yung intent ng keyword. So kung ang intent ng keyword is really to give you information, then create informational content out of it. It doesn't matter if it will pass on the readability of Yoast SEO because again, these are just guides, but not necessarily a ranking factor. So for me, the main point here is as long as you create content to the benefit of your audience by providing value, then solve ka na dun.
May konti lang din akong comment about the readability. So honestly, hindi ko alam 100% or hindi ko sure 100% kung readability is actually a factor sa ranking. But I know na yung readability is also a factor na nakaka-affect sa behavior ng audience mo, and indirectly nakaka-affect yun sa factor kasi kung yung website mo or yung web page na ni-rank mo hindi naman readable talaga, so it's a whole block of text na isang paragraph from top to bottom, 1,000 words, hindi siya readable, hindi siya conducive to reading. And siguro yung pwede nating i-define yung readability na hindi confined dun sa scores. Kasi yung sa Yoast, yung ginagamit ng Yoast, automated yon, may nakaset lang silang criteria. Now kapag na-meet yun nung page mo, bibigyan ng magandang score. Pero it can fail dun sa score, pero readable siya pagdating sa actual audience. So hindi natin talaga siguro ma-measure yung readability accurately based lang dun sa tool na ginagamit natin. So it still has something to do with the experience of the audience. Kasi kung yung maganda yung topic mo, interesting siya, pero the way you present it dun sa webpage is hindi siya conducive to reading, hindi rin siya babasahin ng mga tao. And tataas lang yung bounce rate mo kasi kung nakita nila isang block ng text yung nandun sa page, hindi siya babasahin ng tao. So I think it's somehow a factor, you know.
May sasabihin lang din ako, I mean, of course, regarding doon sa readability and especially doon sa Yoast. I mean, sa akin, parang hindi talaga siya like direct factor if magra-rank ba yung article. But however, yung sa measure kasi ng Yoast is based doon sa common yung behavior ng readers. Pero doon sa binanggit mo kanina na parang okay lang doon sa users nyo yung ganon na pagkasulat kahit matataas yung sentences or even siguro if yung passive voice okay lang. Sa akin hindi siya kung yung target nyo na audience is okay sa kanila yung ganon, so it would be okay. However, yung standard lang kasi ng Yoast is in general and also sa search engine nila. But if it gives your user like a nice experience, then I don't think it would affect the factor sa ranking niya. Yun lang naman yung sa akin.
Ayun, add ko lang po na yung like with readability, given na naman yun na of course you're not going to, hindi mo naman tatambakan ng 1,000 words yung text block. We're not gonna do that, syempre. It's a given already if you're a writer or no. Syempre yung magaan sa mata, parang yung ginagawa ni JTL sa email na magaan sa mata, yung hindi masyadong isang tambak ng words doon. Magaan lang sa mata, that's basically readability. But what I'm saying is yung like readability score na pasado kay Hemingway, that's another thing, di ba? Yun yung parang totally we just ignored it kasi nga mga military naman yung nagbabasa. I mean, pumasa naman siguro yun ng grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8. Hindi na, we are not gonna follow the understandable by a 6th, 7th grader. So yan lang na siya. Parang,
Yeah, tama yan. It also comes down to the audience naman. So kung yung audience mo, 1,000 technical persons na nakakaintindi ng article mo, na-enjoy nila yung pagkasulat mo, tapos merong isa naman na grade 5. So kahit 'di ba, hindi niya ma-appreciate yung ganun. Pero kung yung target audience mo na-appreciate niya. So mas magiging maganda yung ranking mo for that keyword.
Depends on the audience.
Okay. As mentioned naman, na-mention ko naman kanina, yung mga readability, mga ganyan. Those are best practices. And it all comes down pa rin nga yun sa audience mo. So it's just a matter kung nag-work pala sa inyo, nag-increase, then why change? Bakit iiksian mo pa? So, yeah. May gusto pa mag-share? May mga nalolos na beginners daw. Or should we go to the Q&A na?
Pwede naman po tayong diretso na sa Q&A. Parang mabilis po kasi kayong natapos, Coach. So, kaya parang nag-take na tayo ng time para doon sa sharing. Then, actually parang yung time pa lang natin yun na ginagamit is for the sharing pa lang. So,
mga specific, I think yung mga questions na for specific, we can collate din lahat ng mga question. We can answer siguro some of the questions briefly now and then siguro sa mga succeeding na sessions, mas mag-dive deep. Like meron dito asking keyword research and content strategy. Siguro gawin natin siyang separate session. Parang ganun. Dun sa mga beginners and kahit sa mga hindi, let us know kung ano yung mga topic na gusto nyong i-cover natin sa skill mastery. So, yeah. Mapaplano natin sa succeeding sa mga succeeding weeks. So, yeah. So, may gusto pang mag-share about common misconceptions or experience nila as SEO? Something, yung mga na-encounter nyo with clients or ano? Okay na? Q&A na? Sige. Q&A na daw.
sige, Tia. Sige po. Let's take po yung first na question. Yung ano pong apps gamit nyo pang-optimize ng content?
Oh, pang-optimize ng content. Before, we're using sa agency to, mga mahal kasi. We're using ClearScope but we stopped doing that na din. Actually, I personally don't use apps to optimize. So, since ako yung content strategist, so I plan the keywords, I plan the content plan, I create the content brief. So, dun pa lang sa content brief, alam ko na kung anong keywords ang ilalagay in between sa mga subtopics and all. and nakaayon na din siya sa search intent ng specific keywords. So as long as na-follow ng writer yung brief ko, then we're good na. We just check for the grammars and the structures, and that's it. I don't personally use optimization apps kasi it's expensive. And yeah. Sa iba, I don't know with others.
Kung ma-afford, maganda rin yung yung Page Optimizer Pro na software. Pero pag pag hindi afford, pwede naman na i-visit lang yung top 10 or top 15 websites dun sa first or second page nung keyword na gusto nyo iparank, then try to look at their structure. So ganun lang din. And gather the keywords lang from those pages. More not actually because yung sa akin, pareho kami ni Mariel na on-page SEO and content naka-focus. So more on semantically relevant words and phrases lang yung ginagather namin from the top 15 na websites. So para magkaroon kami ng unfair advantage. More like kung meron sa atin yung mga majority, if not all of the words and phrases na gusto ni Google at ibang search engines na makita dun sa page natin and wala yun dun sa ibang pages, then we have higher chances na talaga sa first page yung rankings natin.
Yeah. Yeah, same kami ng process. We analyze for the keyword na we want to rank or ginagawa namin ng content. We analyze, ako nga top 10 lang. Just the first page, I analyze the top 10 na search results, tingnan yung structure, tingnan yung content, and then do better of it. And then I also add, para hindi rin siya block ng text, as we discussed kanina, if kaya nang merong bullets, hinahalo ng different form ng content. Kung may bullets, lagyan ng table para easier read sa audience. Ayun, mas may advantage over dun sa nagra-rank na puro block lang ng text. So that's we optimize without using apps. Next.
Thank you po. I-share ko na lang din po, Coach, yung sinabi ni Sir Kurt. I-share ko na lang din para sa information ng lahat. I don't use any app to optimize content. Once I got the keywords that I want to target, then I'll create a content card for the content writer. As long as keywords are inserted naturally and the content satisfies the intent of the keyword, then it's good. Always take in mind that you are creating content for human consumption, not simply to rank on search engines.
Yes.
Thank you po. Next question po tayo. Ano po process nyo, Coach, sa pag-determine ng keywords na i-optimize?
Sino nagtanong?
Or
ako, may, halimbawa, for existing page ba to? Or for new one? Magkaiba kasi yun.
Say existing.
For existing, usually may seed keywords, di ba? Kung ano yung gustong iparank ni client for that page. Then what we do is we check yung top 3 na SERPs. And then kung ano yung lumalabas na mas na parang similar na keyword for that. And then yun yung gagamitin namin. And then we prioritize, of course, yung high search volume. But again, high search volume is relative, depende kung anong niche. And then low keyword difficulty. We still use the high keyword difficulty keywords, but not as the primary one. Ini-insert namin in between, within the content or within the meta. Ginagamit pa rin, but not as the primary, as secondary one. So again, how to choose yung keywords na i-optimize for a certain page kung paano namin verify na ito talaga dapat yung keyword na for this page. We still check yung competitor. For us yun, top 3. Yung sa top 3 lang namin tinitingnan. And this time we use apps. For me personally, I use Ahrefs. So, I don't know.
Yan, sige. Since it's the topic of keyword research, I may add lang, siguro for starters, since keywords talaga, ito talaga yung foundation for an effective SEO, you should start with learning the keyword intent. So I'll be sending here a link. So for everyone that you want to study. So ang keyword intent, there are 4. So number 1 is informational. Meaning, informational is, ito pa lang yung content na, I mean yung user na naghahanap ng information. So for example, kung basketball shoes yan, more likely ang informational keywords yan is how to clean your shoes, diba? How to preserve your basketball shoes for long, parang ganun. So those are informational keywords. On commercial keywords naman, which is ito yung pangalawa, nag-i-investigate na sila. So more probably, what is the best shoes for basketball? So pwedeng pumasok dyan sila Nike, pwedeng pumasok dyan sila Adidas. So these are commercial intent. For the transactional naman, ito na yung ready to buy na sila. So ang keyword na nito, kung basketball shoes is buy Nike or buy Adidas basketball shoes. So ang content nun is really, ang focus nun is to sell. So makikita niyo iba-iba ng intent, iba-iba ng form of structure ng content, 'di ba? And lastly, yung navigational. Parang ito na yung specific na yung site. Parang they want na for example, Nike shoes na. So nagbabrowse na lang sila ng mga Nike shoes dito. So it's better to understand keyword intent when doing keyword research, because you have to ask yourself first, ano bang intent ko kung bakit ako gagawa ng content? Is it to provide information? Is it to provide commercial intent? Is it transactional, or is it navigational? So you should always start from there.
Nice, thank you.
Yay, thank you po.
Thanks, Kurt.
Nakataas po yung kamay ni CJ. Pwede po ba natin siyang i-entertain?
Sige. CJ?
CJ,
Kanina pa yata yan.
Ay,
Baka pagod na yun.
yeah. So, TL, gusto ko lang ding itanong kasi kanina sa pasimula is parang ang sinasabi lang ay ang SEO ay website. And may nakita din ako sa sa comment dito sa boxes ay kung pwede din to sa ibang mga platforms. Like for me kasi ako gusto kong I'm totally a beginner. So I'm here to learn. So wala talaga akong alam. Pero may nabanggit ka na mga words like parang naiintindihan ko siya kasi yung sabi mo you are also responsible sa content creation. So ang understanding ko is you are using SEO din sa paggawa ng mga ganon. So meaning, tama ba ako na sabihin na yung mga sinabi din sa content dito sa mga platforms like YouTube, yung mga ganon, sinasamahan din ng SEO? Tapos yung pangalawa ko is kasi ang industry ko kasi is vacation rental at nabanggit mo rin yung real estate. At isa sa mga number 1 na hinahanap ng mga clients namin o guests, syempre, is yung map. Yung map ng Google Map. So, ngayon, nasabi din na may mga informational intent pala and also parang natatagpi-tagpi ko siya. So, ngayon, ang gusto ko sana is, again, kung tama ba, kasi gusto ko i-maximize na hindi ko pa ito ginagamit yung Google My Business. Kasi parang nasa loob lang talaga kami ng Airbnb at the moment. So nag-try kami ng social media pero hindi siya effective for us. So I'm thinking na pupunta ako sa Google kasi yun yung lagi namang ding hinahanap. So gusto ko siyang gamitan ng SEO kaya ako nandito para maintindihan siya. So yun. So yun yung mga little questions ko at asking for confirmation kung tama ba yung nadudugtong-dugtong ko sa utak ko. So thank you.
Well, search engine optimization. Optimization nga para increase visibility sa search engines. And there are different search engines. And yeah, Google is one, which primarily most SEO specialists do naka-focus since doon naman usually sinesearch. Then you have also, well, social media is also, I think, since you also do search sa social media and also do search sa YouTube, those are also considered as search engines. But they have different algorithm kasi. Iba yung paandar nila kung paano ka magiging ng visibility. So hindi ako familiar doon. So sa website ako naka-focus. So and yung sa Google Business Profile, yeah, part siya ng off-page, di ba? Tama, di ba? Yeah, it's off-page SEO. So yeah, usually for local businesses and yan sa inyo Airbnb, makakatulong nga siya kasi especially if ang naghahanap ay nakadepende sa area. Yun kasi ang unang pinapakita ni Google sa pag nag-search ka ng something and then may area. Ang ipapakita niya is yung map. And then kung ano yung mga businesses. And usually 3 lang yung ipapakita niya doon. And yeah, that will be helpful for your business. Ayun. Sa Google Business Profile, ang kaibahan lang din, it's also a different strategy. And you correct me if I'm wrong do sa iba, but you don't really need not necessarily na you need a website para mag-Google Business Profile. Kailangan lang talaga meron kang, well, i-enlist mo siya. So, may process for that, ipang verify and categories and all that, kind of stuff. So, ayun. May mga kay CJ. Ayan, sige.
Sige. For Airbnb, ang mas maganda doon is like kasi merong address. So yun lang yung pinaka-basic dyan is yung i-claim nyo lang yung Google My Business listing ninyo. Kung sakaling nandun na siya, makikita nyo na siya doon sa map. And then fill out nyo lang yung mga necessary information like business name, yung address, phone number, parang ganoon. Dapat lang siya ma-fill out talaga yung like business. Nakalagay kasi doon business hours, kung may website kayo, ilagay nyo doon. Dapat din nandun sa description. And yung sa category, I'm not sure kung, I guess yung category dyan ay merong vacation home rental agency, parang ganoon, or hahanapin nyo lang. Wala yatang Airbnb. So, yun lang yung importante dyan. And then, as much as possible, yung mga photos ng mismong property, malalagay nyo doon. And then, start collecting reviews. Kasi yung nagpaparank talaga doon sa Google My Business na profile, pag maganda talaga yung reviews ninyo, mas madali siyang napupul doon sa pinakataas. And then, may option din dyan na pwede kayong mag-post regularly. So, yun yung masuggest ko na dapat regular yung posting nyo dyan. Maganda sana kung nandito si Genesis kasi yun yung niya. And then, embed nyo lang yung pag halimbawa mag-website kayo, yung Google Map na yung nyo, embed nyo lang siya dun sa website. So, yun yung mga basic things na dapat gawin for Airbnb.
Okay, thank you po. Yung po ba yung yung postcard na para to claim? Yung ba yun?
Magsisend sila ng parang pero usually naman pag may mga automatic din na kasi yung mga ginagawa ko automatic lang naman din, hindi na sila nagsisend ng PIN. Pero for other businesses, magsisend talaga sila ng ano ng wag lang kayong gumamit ng tawag nito sa US kasi may ano to may mga dapat address talaga na totoong address, hindi yung parang postal address.
Mm, mm,
Oo.
Okay, thank you po.
Thank you po.
Ilagay natin yan sa future na mga topics.
Si Genesis Guevara, sa kanya yung GFB, sa
Tatap,
kanya ako na-outsource.
itatap natin siya.
May
Well,
question pa po.
ayan, sige.
How to choose a market sa SEO po?
Choose lang.
Like meron bang basis siguro? Ano bang tanong?
Ako kasi napunta lang ako local business dito. Meron bang category? I think siguro kung gusto mong ma-ensure na madami kang client, yung niche or industry na may website. I think yung parang yung pinaka-basic na question kasi you need something to optimize anyway. And then kung sa akin kasi local business, very different compare ko, very different siya with local and sa US. Sa local, dito sa Pinas, wala masyado. So kung gusto ko i-target, like gusto kong mag-shift to local business dito sa Pinas, hindi ko magawa kasi most local businesses ay walang website. So hindi ko siya ma-offer. So, but instead, pwedeng i-offer yung off-page SEO na sa Maps lang kasi usually yun lang ang nakikita ko sa local business. I don't know, meron ba kayong tips on how to choose? Parang choose lang naman. Meron ba?
Ano lang, like
Yeah.
halimbawa, gusto mo mag-Shopify, so doon naka-focus siya pag ni-niche down mo. Like sa akin, parang hiyang ako sa WordPress, so WordPress lang. Pag halimbawa,
Oo, yun din. Oo.
ano lang ako, like ngayon lang ako tumatanggap ng Shopify. Pero before, WordPress lang talaga na local businesses. Parang yun yung sa akin.
Like ako naman, kaya ako local business. I don't do e-com naman kasi I feel intimidated with e-com. Highly competitive and commercial na intent na keywords. Nakakatakot siya. Natatakot ako sa kanya. So, hindi siya para sa akin. So, ayun. Ikaw, Kurt? May ma-share
Other
ka?
insight lang in terms to picking a market sa SEO. You have also to consider na may mga niche talaga or market talaga na mahirap i-SEO like law, insurances, mga doctors, what else? I think SaaS medyo mahirap din. Why? Kasi number one, it takes heavy content talaga na trustworthy. So meron kasi tinatawag si Google na guidelines na your money, your life. So ibig sabihin kapag hindi truthful yung content na present mo sa website mo or it did not came from trusted resource or someone na talagang kilala sa field na yun like law, insurances, doctors and etc. Doon medyo mahirap yung ranking. So siguro you have to be specific then on those details if you're gonna choose a market. So kung tingin mo hindi mo kaya yung mga challenges na yon, then stay away from those niche. Pero if you are able naman and tingin mo kaya mo, then I think lahat naman ng niche sa SEO is ang tawag dito? Pwede naman. The same time lucrative din naman lahat.
Ngayon, like mga gambling din, cannabis. Yan yung mga challenging. Affiliate websites din ata. Medyo. Kasi heavy on content.
Okay, thank you po. Next po. Nasagot na ba or nahagip na ata to kanina? Yung tanong na applicable po ba si SEO pagdating sa FB and YouTube?
Yes, pero different yung strategy nila than website. Kasi iba yung algorithm ng Facebook, iba yung algorithm ng YouTube. So, another specialty yung YouTube SEO or Pinterest SEO and other platform na SEO.
Then, may mga market po ba na mahirap i-rank?
Ayun na na-mention na kanina.
Mention na nga. Thank you po. Then, if newbie po, advisable po ba build ng website para ma-apply yung actual and magamit sa port?
Sige, sagutin ko. Actually, when you learn SEO, hindi talaga siya theory lang. You really need to apply it. And it's highly recommended that you create your own website muna as a test para doon ka mag-practice ng mga SEO processes. Kasi pag nag-aral ka lang na nag-aral, nag-consume ka lang na nag-consume, nag-YouTube ka lang ng YouTube without even applying it, hindi mo maiintindihan and hindi siya papasok sa system mo, hindi mo maiintindihan kung bakit. So the best way talaga to practice SEO is by applying it. So for example, if you are learning about technical SEO, then i-apply mo agad. Kung content naman, then create ka agad ng content. Then it's up to you kung ano yung tingin mo mag-work na strategy kasi makikita mo siya sa mismong website mo eh. So makikita mo na nag-rank na ako sa ganitong keywords kasi ganito yung ginawa ko, etc. So yeah, it's really highly recommended if you can. Mura lang din naman bumili ng ng website na pwede mong pagpracticean tsaka hosting. So you can invest on that kasi I think that's the only way. That's the only way that you can really learn by putting your hands and get it dirty sa SEO.
Parang yun na lang po yung na-cite kong mga questions. Or siguro yun po yung may naging concern nga po na for newbies. I think yun nga po maganda na ma-identify natin kung ano yung mga need natin para come up po yung team kung ano po yung next na topic na kailangan pong discuss for this matter. Kasi may share po kanina regarding dito sa na hindi po naintindihan yung mga terms and all.
Pa-answer na lang din ng feedback form.
Oh yes, please i-share ko po.
I just checked kasi din yung questions and meron doon nakalagay, may field doon na nakalagay na what would you like to learn more about the skill. So, pa-fill out doon yung mga things na you want to learn and then para ma-plan natin. May isa pang question dito sa nagba-backlink. Hindi ako nagbabacklink. Is there such a thing as too many backlinks on the content? Will too many backlinks on content hurt SEO rankings? May gusto kong sumagot.
I think internal link yung tinutukoy mo. Lay?
Bali both outside and internal.
Okay. Sa internal link, of course, hindi mo naman pwedeng i-bombard ng puro internal links lang yung content mo. As long as it's relevant, pwede mong i-insert. Pero kung mag-i-insert ka doon for the sake na dapat marami yung internal link mo, pero hindi naman relevant dun sa content na sinusulat mo, then that's the time na pwede kang i-penalize ni Google and it will hurt your SEO. So it's best na to put internal links lang if it's relevant to the content. Pero if not, then not necessary. Pag sa backlinks naman, of course, mas maganda, mas marami kang backlinks. Kasi backlinks is like a vote system kay Google. If you have a lot of backlinks that are pointing out to your website, it means that you're trusted and that you have authority over your niche or your industry. So the more it is, of course, mas ikaw yung i-favor ni Google to rank for that keyword.
Yung understanding ko kasi sa backlinks or outside links, parang we're trying to get help from the other bigger websites. Yung like for example, yung website ni client is mababa yung domain authority niya, yung hindi siya masyadong trusted. So what we will do is medyo lalagyan natin siya ng backlinks. Kumbaga I always say yung parang yung Christmas tree mo na walang Christmas decoration. Yun yung content mo. So for your content to be livelier and medyo mas lumakas yung content, we get help from the other. Lalagyan mo siya ng Christmas decoration. That means lalagyan mo siya ng outside links. We're getting help from, let's say, IMF or World Bank. Yan, mga malalakas yung domain authority score niya, di ba? So it can help boost a client's website na hindi ganun kakilala, na maliit yung mababa lang yung domain authority score. What I choose the backlinks na kunyari, let's say a particular topic, tas pipiliin ko yung website with a high domain authority score. And yun yung gagamitin ko. Like see if it's a health topic, World Health Organization or something like that, or yung yung trusted websites na yun yung gagamitin ko na link niya for my client para medyo mapansin naman siya ni Google. That's more or less. Kaya lang I got parang napiisip din kasi ako, I got a comment from a client na, oh, bakit ang dami mo namang nilagay na outside links or backlinks? So that's why I'm asking.
Parang ang meant mo yata are outgoing links.
External links ata.
Ang outgoing links coming from your website nakalink sa ibang website. Yung backlinks, yung ibang website nakalink dun sa website mo.
I'm adding their links. I'm adding their links to my content para makatulong.
Outgoing links ang tawag ata doon.
Or
Iba pa po yung
Internal links
backlinks.
Backlinks is always internal.
No. Backlinks is a website that cited your website.
Sila yung nag-link
Create sila
sa'yo.
ng content, tapos naglagay sila ng
Okay.
link pointing out to your website. That's backlink.
Pero yung like I'm using their website link,
It's
That's
okay.
external link.
dinadagdag ko siya doon sa content para tumaas, para mapansin din. Kasi nga mataas na, high ranking na yung website nila. So what I do, like yun nga, for example, World Bank or World Health Organization na sobrang trusted, ang high domain authority score na siya, then those are the links that I will put in my content para mas more or less makilala. I think it happened na parang naging effective naman. So I was just asking
You only do that. You only do external links if it is from a trusted source or you're citing references, statistics, ganyan. Of
Yeah.
course, it should come from a website that is trustworthy. Pero if you're gonna use that for the sake of you think na makaka-help siya to get you higher domain rin at the same time, na parang makakakuha ka sa kanila ng link equity na
Link
tinatawag,
juice.
it doesn't help. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
din
ang tawag ata doon.
Or
Iba pa
outside
po
links.
yung
External links,
backlinks.
Backlinks is always internal.
No,
No.
backlinks is a website that cited your website.
Sila yung nag-link
Create sila ng
sa'yo.
content, tapos naglagay sila ng
Okay,
link
okay.
pointing out to your website. That's backlink.
Pero yung like I'm using their website link,
It's
That's
okay.
external link.
dinadagdag ko siya doon sa content para tumaas, para mapansin din. Kasi nga mataas na high ranking na yung website nila. So what I do, like yun nga, for example, World Bank or World Health Organization na sobrang trusted ang high domain authority score na siya, then those are the links that I will put in my content para mas more or less makilala. I think it happened na parang naging effective naman. So I was just asking
You only do that. You only do external links if it is from a trusted source or you're citing references, statistics, ganyan. Of
Yeah.
course, it should come from a website that is trustworthy. Pero if you're gonna use that for the sake of you think na makaka-help siya to get you higher domain rin at the same time, na parang makakakuha ka sa kanila ng link equity na
Link
tinatawag,
juice.
it doesn't help. It doesn't work that way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Actually,
parang
ikaw
lang
yung
siya. Ikaw
ikaw yung
nagbigay.
nagbibigay sa kanila ng more authority.
Oo. Kasi sinasite mo.
Not the
It
other
means
way
it
around.
doesn't help my content.
It helps your content in a sense na mas binibigyan mo ng credibility yung sinasabi mo.
Kasi you cited
You
reference.
cited resources. Like, I usually use it kapag halimbawa you mention statistics o specific study dun sa content mo. Then you put a link of kung saan galing yung study na yon, which should be a reliable site like yun nga, World Health Organization, CDC, or those things. It helps na yun, magbigay ng credibility dun sa sinulat mo, but it doesn't help with the getting link juice or upvote link from increasing your domain authority and parang ganon. It's the other way around.
It doesn't help. It helps them more.
Oh, kasi
Ganun po ba?
whenever a
Interpret.
website put a link sa website ng iba, it's a voting, parang sinabi ni Kurt, it's a voting system. You're voting for their website na, oy, okay to, authoritative to. That's why I'm citing them. So, yun. So, kung gusto mo ng external, yung backlink to help you with the domain authority, it's the other way around. You try to get a higher domain authority website na i-link yung website mo. And how do you do that? By producing a good content na we call it linkable assets na pwedeng infographics or something, usually infographics na pwedeng gamitin ng ibang website na ililink ka towards. That's backlinking.
Thank you, Coach.
Hindi po ako coach.
May isa doon sa taas na question
Sorry. Thank you.
on redesign. Meron doon yata na miss.
Okay. Sige. Pag sa redesigning kasi, actually very sensitive na topic to. Medyo din to. Medyo malalim din na topic. Pero siguro bigyan ko na lang din ng overview. May mga websites kasi or clients na gusto nilang i-redesign yung website for or probably siguro branding, ganyan, etc. Or dahil old na talaga yung website, kailangan nilang i-refresh, ganyan. So, pwede yun. Pero ang case kasi na to is nag-redesign sila without even acknowledging or asking for a consultation ng SEO strategist. So, ang nangyari, yung SEO, maganda na yung performance, pero dahil sa redesign na hindi kinonsult dun sa SEO specialist, nasira lahat. Why? Bakit siya nasira? Number one would be, kasi kapag nag-redesign ka ng website, and kapag hindi proper yung pag-redesign mo, kasi may mga factors pa yan na titignan na dapat naka-migrate ng maayos yung website, naka-store yung backup, etc. So ito kasi yung mga important na bagay na dapat i-consider. And technically, kapag nag-redesign ka kasi ng website, itatag ni Google yun as kind of new website. So parang mahihirapan ka ulit to yung existing na rankings mo, more probably magfa-fluctuate yun for the first 3 to 6 months. Usually ang recovery niyan after 6 months pa. So ganun si Google. So tinitignan niya kapag nag-redesign ka ng website, makikita niya yun as parang new website. So makaka-capture niya lang na okay, ni-redesign niya lang pala yung website mga after 3 to 6 months kasi i-crawl niya ulit lahat ng website mo. Ngayon in this case kaya nag-fall yung traffic, yung SEO is kasi nga hindi nga sila nag-consult sa SEO. So more likely nasira lahat ng ginawa rin ng SEO. Hindi tama siguro yung migration, hindi tama yung strategy na pinut in place, hindi nila napagandaan kaya nasira yung ranking, nasira rin yung traffic. So always take note when doing redesign website, you should also always involve an SEO specialist before doing so. Kasi this is highly sensitive.
Mas
If you-
maganda rin na mapa-crawl nyo yung website in advance na like alam niyo naman yung tawag ito Screaming Frog. Gagamitin nyo yon before mag-redesign. I-crawl nyo yung website tapos i-copy nyo lahat yung mga data like from meta titles, meta descriptions, tapos save nyo lang siya on your local file. And then pati yung sa mga URL structure kasi yung mangyayari dyan is kailangan nyo siyang i-redirect, 301 redirect siya from the old. Halimbawa, iba yung slug na gamit ng old. So dapat mapa-forward nyo siya dun sa new na na gamit ninyo. So yun kadalasan yun yung mga problema pag nagre-redesign
Hello po.
na
And i-close
Sorry
na
po
nila,
Pat,
kinlose na
ito-close na po yung breakout. So again, next week po, wag niyo po kalimutan sagutan yung
feedback
feedback po
form.
para po ma-take note po yung mga next na topics na po pwede pong i-take.
Pero okay lang naman, kayang-kaya
Parang
naman.
bitin
Oo, bitin eh.
Ganun talaga.
Nasanay tayo ng 3-4 hours.
Mas maganda na yung bitin para next time. Ulit? Excited
Next
ulit.
ulit.
Oo nga.
Uy, hala daw niya si Coach J3 yung nagsasalita. Nami-miss.
Instead
Si Coach Friend yata.